Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my other socials for more. Enjoy. The following week, Hank attended his first meeting. He was nervous, but as he listened to others share their stories, he felt a sense of belonging he'd never experienced before. People spoke of their struggles with identity, of the joy of self-discovery, and of the challenges they faced in their relationships and careers. When it was his turn to speak, Hank found the words flowing easily. He talked about his journey, about Winona's support, and about the balance he was trying to strike between Hank and Rachel. After the meeting, several people approached him, offering words of encouragement and sharing their own experiences. One person, a tall individual with short, spiky hair, introduced themselves as Sam. "Your story really resonated with me," Sam said. "I'm still figuring out my own identity, but hearing about how you and your wife are navigating this together, it gives me hope." Hank felt a warmth spread through his chest.
"It hasn't always been easy," he admitted, "but Winona's support has meant everything." As he left the meeting, Hank felt a renewed sense of purpose. He realized that by sharing his story, he might be able to help others who were struggling with similar issues. Over the next few months, Hank became a regular at the support group meetings. He and Winona even attended a few sessions together, which helped them communicate better about their feelings and concerns. Rachel continued to flourish in her volunteer work and social activities. She made new friends, some of whom knew about her unique situation, and others who simply knew her as Rachel. One day, as Rachel was leaving a yoga class, she ran into Elena from the dinner party. Elena's eyes lit up with recognition. "Rachel, it's so good to see you. How have you been?" They chatted for a few minutes, catching up on each other's lives. As they were about to part ways, Elena hesitated. "Listen, Rachel, I hope you know that Mark and I think of you as a dear friend. And we want you to know that, well, we know. About Hank, I mean." Rachel felt her heart skip a beat. You do?" Elena nodded, her expression kind. "We figured it out a while ago, but we didn't want to say anything until you were ready. We just want you to know that we accept you, all of you, and we're here if you ever want to talk." Tears welled up in Rachel's eyes as she hugged Elena tightly. "Thank you," she whispered. "You have no idea how much that means to me." As Rachel recounted this conversation to Winona later that evening, they both marveled at how far they'd come. From a hidden secret to open acceptance from friends, their journey had been full of challenges, but also incredible growth. "You know," Winona said, cuddling close to Hank on the couch, "I'm proud of us, of how we've handled all of this, and I'm proud of you for being true to yourself." Hank kissed the top of her head. "I couldn't have done any of it without you," he said softly. "You've been my rock through all of this." As they sat there, enjoying the quiet moment together, Hank reflected on the path that had led them here. From the fear and uncertainty of his initial confession to the life they'd built now, with Rachel as an integral part of their world. It hadn't been easy, and he knew there would be more challenges ahead. But with Winona by his side, he felt ready to face whatever came their way. The next morning, as Hank prepared for work, he found himself smiling at his reflection in the mirror. He saw not just Hank, the marketing executive, but also a glimpse of Rachel, waiting patiently for her turn to shine. The two sides of himself, once so separate, now felt more integrated than ever before. As he straightened his tie, Winona appeared in the doorway. "Have a good day at work, honey," she said, giving him a quick kiss. "Oh, and don't forget, we have dinner with Sam and their partner tonight." Hank nodded, grateful for the reminder. Since meeting Sam at the support group, they had become close friends. Sam's journey of self-discovery had paralleled Hank's in many ways, and their conversations had been invaluable. "Thanks, love," Hank replied. "Will I be coming home as Hank or Rachel?" Winona considered for a moment. "Why don't we let Rachel out tonight? It's been a while since she's had a night out with friends." Hank felt a flutter of excitement. "Sounds perfect. I'll bring a change of clothes to work."
As he drove to the office, Hank marveled at how natural this conversation had felt. The easy way they now discussed Rachel's appearances, the seamless integration of both aspects of his life, it was more than he could have ever hoped for when he first confessed his secret to Winona. The workday flew by, filled with meetings and project deadlines. As 5 o'clock approached, Hank felt the familiar anticipation building. He closed his office door and carefully changed into the outfit he'd brought, a flowing navy blue dress with a delicate floral pattern paired with comfortable yet stylish flats. As he applied his makeup, a skill he'd honed over the past months, Hank felt the transformation begin. By the time he'd secured his wig, a shoulder-length style in a warm chestnut color, Rachel was looking back at him from the mirror. She gathered her things, took a deep breath, and stepped out of the office. A few of her coworkers were still around, and they greeted her warmly. The first few times Rachel had appeared at the office, there had been some surprised looks and whispered conversations. But now, it was just another part of life at the company. "Heading out, Rachel," her assistant Tom called from his desk. "Have a great evening," Rachel smiled, grateful for the easy acceptance. "Thanks, Tom. You too." As she drove home, Rachel felt a sense of contentment wash over her. This was her life now. A blend of Hank and Rachel, each aspect respected and valued. At home, Winona greeted her with a warm hug. "You look beautiful," she said, admiring Rachel's outfit. "Are you ready for dinner?" Rachel nodded, excitement bubbling up inside her. "More than ready. It feels like ages since we've had a night out." They arrived at the restaurant, a cozy Italian place they'd discovered recently. Sam and their partner, Jamie, were already seated at a table near the back. "Rachel, Winona!" Sam called, standing to greet them with hugs. "It's so good to see you both." As they settled into their seats, Rachel felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. Here she was, out in public, surrounded by people who knew and accepted her for who she truly was. The conversation flowed easily, touching on everything from work challenges to the latest books they'd read. As they were finishing their main course, Sam leaned in with a conspiratorial grin. "So, I have some news," they said, glancing at Jamie. "We're thinking of starting a small support group for partners of gender non-conforming individuals, kind of like a spin-off from the main group. We were wondering if you'd be interested in helping out, Winona?" Winona's eyes widened in surprise. "Me? I'm not sure what I could offer." Rachel reached over and squeezed her hand. "Are you kidding? You've been amazing through this whole journey. Your perspective would be incredibly valuable." Jamie nodded in agreement.
Exactly. A lot of partners struggle with how to be supportive while also dealing with their own feelings. Your experience could really help others. Winona considered for a moment, then slowly nodded. "I'd be honored to help. It might be good for me, too, to connect with others who understand what this is like." As they left the restaurant later that evening, Rachel felt a renewed sense of purpose. They weren't just living their truth now. They were helping others do the same. Over the next few weeks, Winona threw herself into helping organize the new support group. Rachel watched with pride as her wife channeled her own experiences into creating a safe space for others to share and learn. One evening, as they were getting ready for bed, Winona turned to Rachel with a thoughtful expression. "You know, I've been thinking, maybe it's time we considered being more open about your identity at work. Not just the occasional appearance as Rachel, but really integrating both sides of yourself." Rachel felt a mix of excitement and apprehension at the suggestion. "You think so? It's a big step." Winona nodded. "It is, but you've come so far and your company has been supportive. Maybe it's time to take that next step towards fully being yourself in all aspects of your life." The idea took root, and over the next few days, Rachel couldn't stop thinking about it. She discussed it with her therapist, with Sam, and with some of the friends she'd made through the support group. Finally, she decided to broach the subject with her boss, a woman named Catherine, who had always been understanding of Rachel's occasional appearances at the office. "Catherine, do you have a moment?" Rachel asked.
poking her head into her boss's office one afternoon. Catherine looked up from her computer and smiled. "Of course, Hank. Come on in." Rachel took a seat, feeling a mix of nervousness and determination. "I wanted to talk to you about me, about Rachel." Catherine's expression turned serious. "Is everything all right?" Rachel nodded. "Yes, everything's fine. Great, actually. That's kind of why I'm here. I've been thinking about being more open about my identity at work. Not just the occasional appearance as Rachel, but really integrating both aspects of myself into my professional life." Catherine listened attentively as Rachel explained her thoughts, her desires, and her concerns. When Rachel finished, Catherine was quiet for a moment, considering. "Thank you for sharing this with me," she said finally. "I appreciate your honesty and your trust. From the company's perspective, we want you to be able to bring your whole self to work. If this is what that means for you, then we'll support you however we can." Rachel felt a weight lift from her shoulders. "Thank you, Catherine. That means more than you know." Over the next few months, Rachel began to integrate her feminine identity more fully into her work life. Some days she came to the office as Hank, others as Rachel. She worked with HR to update company policies and educate her colleagues. One sunny Tuesday morning, Rachel strode into the office wearing a white blouse tucked into a pencil skirt, her chestnut hair swept into an elegant updo. She greeted her colleagues with a warm smile, feeling a surge of pride as she noticed the ease with which they interacted with her. As she settled at her desk, her assistant Tom approached with a steaming mug of coffee. "Morning, Rachel," he said, placing the mug on her desk. "Just a reminder, you have that big presentation for the Johnson account at 11. Rachel nodded, taking a sip of the coffee. "Thanks, Tom. I've been preparing all week for this one. It could be a game changer for the company." As she reviewed her notes for the presentation, Rachel's phone buzzed with a text from Winona. "Good luck today, honey. You're going to knock their socks off. Dinner tonight to celebrate?" A smile played on Rachel's lips as she typed her reply. "Thanks, love. Dinner sounds perfect. I'll let you know how it goes." The hours ticked by, and soon it was time for the presentation. Rachel stood before the conference room, filled with executives from both her company and the potential client. She took a deep breath, channeling the confidence she'd cultivated over the past months. "Good morning, everyone," she began, her voice clear and strong. "Today, I'm excited to share with you our vision for the future of the Johnson brand." As she spoke, Rachel felt a sense of flow, her words and ideas coming together seamlessly. She noticed the engaged expressions of her audience, the nods of approval, the thoughtful questions. When she finished, the room erupted in applause. The CEO of Johnson Enterprises approached her, hand extended. "That was impressive, Miss Collins," he said, using the name Rachel had chosen for her professional life. "I think we have a lot to discuss in terms of moving forward with this partnership." Rachel felt a thrill of excitement. "Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I look forward to working together." As the room cleared out, Catherine pulled Rachel aside. "Outstanding work," she said, beaming. "You've really outdone yourself this time." Rachel felt a warmth spread through her chest. "Thank you, Catherine. It means a lot to hear that from you. You know," Catherine continued, her tone becoming more serious, "I've been incredibly impressed with how you've handled your transition in the workplace. Your courage and professionalism have been an inspiration to many here." Rachel felt a lump form in her throat. "I couldn't have done it without the support of you and the company," she said softly. Catherine smiled. "Well, we're lucky to have you. In fact, I wanted to talk to you about a potential promotion. We're looking to expand our creative department, and I think you'd be perfect to lead the team." Rachel's eyes widened in surprise. "Really? I'm honored. Thank you for considering me." "Think about it," Catherine said, patting her arm. "We can discuss the details later this week." As Rachel left the office that evening, her mind was buzzing with excitement. She couldn't wait to share the news with Winona. She arrived at the restaurant they'd chosen for dinner, spotting Winona already seated at a cozy table near the back. As she approached, Winona's face lit up. "There's my superstar," Winona said, standing to greet Rachel. "How did it go?" Rachel couldn't contain her grin as she sat down. "It was amazing," she gushed. "The client loved the presentation, and it looks like we'll be moving forward with the partnership." "That's wonderful," Winona exclaimed, reaching across the table to squeeze Rachel's hand. "I knew you'd knock it out of the park." As they ordered their meals, Rachel shared the news about the potential promotion. Winona listened intently, her eyes shining with pride. "Oh, honey, that's incredible," she said. "You've worked so hard for this. You deserve it." Rachel felt a wave of emotion wash over her. "I couldn't have done any of this without you," she said, her voice thick with feeling. "Your support has meant everything." Winona's expression softened. "We're a team, remember? Your victories are my victories." As they enjoyed their meal, the conversation flowed easily, touching on Winona's work with the support group, their plans for the upcoming weekend, and the latest antics of their neighbor's mischievous cat. Towards the end of the evening, as they were sharing a decadent chocolate dessert, Winona grew thoughtful. "You know," she said, twirling her spoon in the rich mousse, "I've been thinking about something." Rachel raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Oh, what's on your mind?" Winona took a deep breath. "Well, with all the changes we've been through, all the growth, I was wondering if maybe it's time we considered expanding our family." Rachel felt her heart skip a beat. "You mean having a child?" Winona nodded slowly. "I know it's a big step and there's a lot to consider, but I think we're in a good place now, stable, happy. And I can't help but think about how amazing you'd be as a parent." Rachel sat back in her chair, processing this unexpected turn in the conversation. The idea of parenthood had always been a distant possibility, something they'd talked about in vague terms. But now, with Winona bringing it up so directly, it suddenly felt very real. "Wow," Rachel said softly. That's a lot to think about. How long have you been considering this?" Winona reached across the table, taking Rachel's hand. "A while now," she admitted. "But I didn't want to bring it up until I felt we were both in a good place. And seeing you today, so confident and happy in your skin, I just thought maybe now's the time to start the conversation." Rachel squeezed Winona's hand, her mind racing with thoughts and emotions. "I'm touched that you've been thinking about this," she said, "and I'd be lying if I said the idea didn't excite me. But you're right, there's a lot to consider." They spent the rest of the evening discussing the possibilities, the challenges, and the dreams they had for their potential future as parents. As they left the restaurant, walking hand in hand under the starry sky, Rachel felt a sense of excitement and nervousness about this new chapter they were considering. "Whatever we decide," Rachel said, pulling Winona close, "we'll face it together, just like we've done with everything else." Winona smiled, leaning into Rachel's embrace. "Together," she agreed. "Always." As they made their way home, Rachel's mind whirled with thoughts of the future, the potential promotion at work, the possibility of starting a family. It was all so much more than she could have ever imagined when she first confessed her secret to Winona all those months ago. She realized that this journey of self-discovery and acceptance had not only changed her life, but had opened up a world of possibilities she never thought she'd have. And with Winona by her side, she felt ready to embrace whatever challenges and joys lay ahead. The next morning, as Rachel prepared for work, she found herself lingering in front of the mirror. She studied her reflection, taking in the person she had become. Confident, authentic, loved. The fear and shame that had once clouded her eyes were gone, replaced by a spark of excitement for the future. As she applied her makeup, a skill she had honed to perfection over the past months, Rachel's mind drifted to the conversation about parenthood. The idea both thrilled and terrified her. Would she be a good parent? How would they explain her unique identity to a child? How would the world treat a family like theirs? Lost in thought, she almost didn't hear Winona calling from downstairs. "Rach, you're going to be late if you don't hurry!" Rachel chuckled, realizing she had indeed lost track of time. She quickly finished her makeup, grabbed her purse, and hurried downstairs. Winona was waiting by the door, travel mug of coffee in hand. "Here," she said, passing the mug to Rachel. "You look like you could use this." Rachel accepted the coffee gratefully. "Thanks, love. I got a bit lost in thought up there." Winona's expression softened. "Still thinking about our conversation from last night?" Rachel nodded. "It's a lot to process, but in a good way, I think." "We don't have to decide anything right away," Winona reassured her. "We can take all the time we need to figure this out." As Rachel headed out the door, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. Whatever challenges lay ahead, at work, in their personal lives, in their potential journey to parenthood, she knew they would face them together. The workday flew by in a whirlwind of meetings and project updates. Rachel found herself constantly distracted by thoughts of the future, imagining what their lives might look like with a child in the mix. As she was packing up to leave for the day, Catherine stopped by her office. "Rachel, do you have a moment? I'd like to discuss that promotion we talked about." Rachel's heart skipped a beat. "Of course, Catherine, please, come in." As Catherine outlined the details of the new position, increased responsibilities, a significant pay raise, and the chance to shape the creative direction of the company, Rachel felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. "This is an incredible opportunity," Rachel said when Catherine finished. "But I have to be honest with you. My wife and I have been discussing the possibility of starting a family. I'm not sure how that might impact my ability to take on these new responsibilities." Catherine's expression softened. "Rachel, the fact that you're being upfront about this only confirms that you're the right person for this job. We value work-life balance here and will support you in whatever decisions you make for your family." Rachel felt a wave of relief wash over her. "Thank you, Catherine. That means more than you know." Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my other socials if you want more wonderful content, early access, behind the scenes, and more. All links down below.